Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's morning docket. Today is Thursday, March 14th, 2019. The first item on the docket is going to be the rules and regulations, the public market license, cross-street market, operators, vendor, and conduct. If you have a cellular device, I would ask that you silence it or place it on the off position now. If after this first matter your case is called, ask that you step up to the microphone, state your name, and if you're going to be giving testimony, please prepare to be sworn in. Again, the rules and regulations, public market license, cross-street market, operations, and vendor conduct. Maryland Code Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-10021, small I, requires the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City Board to adopt regulations to govern and regulate the activities within a public market. On January 23rd, 2019, the Board published proposed rules and regulations for the public market license and opened the public comment period for 30 days. After February 23rd, 2019, the Board closed the comment period. Upon receipt and review of the comments regarding the public market license, the Board will now make a determination as to the final rules and regulations concerning the following activities in the public market: the conduct of vendors, the conduct of license holders within the public market, holding of events that are closed to the public, and the remaining of a common seating area. In addition to approving the rules and regulations, the Board will also at this time vote on the vendor application form.
Okay, and and you indicate here that we incorporated some of the comments from the public hearings and published the final version along with the vendor application on our website and distributed them to various members of the community. So we're prepared to go forward. We've received this morning written comments on some of the rules and regulations from Mrs. Valeri, who I assume is here, but maybe not. Is there anyone else present on this matter? Okay. Commissioners prepared to proceed?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Having reviewed the proposed rules and regulations and the comments and the other considerations that Mr. Akras has just stated, I'm prepared to approve them as they now stand.
I concur along the same bases and approve the Rule 4.21 public market license.
As well as the application.
And, right, and the application as well.
For the reasons already stated, I too would approve Rule 4.21 as well as the vendor application form.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And this will now, they'll now go.
They will now be published on the website, and the vendor application will be available for all vendors who wish to apply.
Thank you. You're going to call the cases that we're moving?
What cases are we moving? What cases are we
5 and 6, you said, right?
6 and 7.
Okay, we now move to the violation portion of the AM docket. Preliminary matters on the AM docket. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, case number 1, address of 4017-19 Eastern Avenue has been postponed. That's the only postponement. Case number 12, 1807-11 Baker Street, postponed. Call case number 6 on the AM docket, Stock Market Bar, 3538 South Hanover Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license here for violation of Rule 4.01A. Sales to minors on January the 23rd, 2019. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conklin Street, Baltimore, for the licensee, Mr. Chaudhry, who's to my right. Ms. Stevens is to his right, and she's the bartender who served that.
Well, before we go forward, let me just get everybody to raise their right hands, okay? All those are going to testify.
The
you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I'm going to find out. But, Mr. Harvey, is this going to be a denial or an admission?
Well, first,
The cadet is not present, and we had a request to move it to the afternoon. I wanted to see, before we did that, whether anybody was here. So your choice is go forward without him, or I can call it this afternoon.
may I have a minute?
The cadet isn't present. Present, so the cadet's the other one. He was gonna move this case to the afternoon docket.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hopeful we can call these first on the afternoon docket.
What do you think?
All right, we'll go forward with
Okay. So is it going to be an admission?
it. Yes, Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, it will be.
Okay. Well, then let's do that. Okay, so your client has been charged with a sale to minor on January 23, 2019, and you're admitting that that occurred, so you want to give us an explanation?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to advise you that the licensee, Mr. Choji, was not available on that particular day. He had some health problems, and he just gotten out of the hospital and wasn't able to be present. So I have something from Franklin Square Hospital to indicate that he was operated on January 21st, and he wasn't able to be there. Ms. Stevens is present as well. She's the one who served. I'll let her speak in a minute, if you don't mind, in mitigation. I want the board to know that he understands that this has been something that's happened more than a few times in the last year. Mr. Chaudhry's been in business there for 15 years, and in that time, he's been charged just, I think, 5 times with the same offense. He understands the gravity of this thing and how seriously the board takes this. I want the board to take note of this picture that hangs in the wall of the tavern, which indicates that they need ID to buy alcohol or tobacco. This is the inside of that same window, which faces the serving clerks, and that tells them that make sure you get an ID. Mr. Chaudhry has also purchased what it's called a fraud fighter, which he's requiring all of his clerks to run a license through that whenever they come in to be served.
So when did that go into effect?
Mr. Chaudhry.
Yes.
The commissioner's asking you when you've put this into effect.
In fact, as I started, when she served the minor the following,
I can't understand. What
when
is
she
this?
served the following days, the minor.
So after that's
The
January
day after,
23rd?
that's right.
Okay, so none of this was in there before this?
No. And also, Ms. Stevens has been certified as a copy of her certification, alcohol awareness. Mr. Chaudhry has 4 children. He's got one in college, one in high school, an elementary school child, and also an infant that he's responsible for financially. He understands that this is going to be a terrible, there's going to be a fine involved, but he begs the commission not to suspend his license on this matter. It really does affect his financial well-being. He's taken all the steps he can to make sure that this doesn't happen again. He's been there for 15 years. We just ask for your indulgence in that. Ms. Stevens is here, and she'd like to tell you what happened that particular day.
Okay.
Ms. Stevens, have she been sworn?
Hello.
Yes, I think everybody was sworn.
Okay, he's.
Your first name is Linda, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
He's constantly telling us, check ID, do this. It's everyday thing. That particular day was an extremely bad day. With me being over-medicated, just put back on my meds. I did serve that minor. I just, I don't it was just an extremely bad day with me being overly medicated, starting back over on my meds. But he tells us every day. He drills it into us. And it was,
Okay.
and I did do that.
Mr. Cho, did you have something you want to tell the board?
Yes, Honor. I'm really, and I've been there 15 years, and I tell every day. And always I was there all of myself, try to help them out. And then I had a surgery, I can come 5 days. Plus, after that, I get all that cautious I can do, like, all I'm doing right now. I make sure call everybody's, and I tell them again. And I have, 4 kids to living, and I have a wife. She don't work, still home. So, Your Honor, I try my best, and I'm never going to be happy again. And it's like,
That's it.
Which of these things do you want back? I don't want to keep your medical records.
No, medical records, thank you.
Okay. Do you want the pictures and this?
Pictures back?
Okay.
You can keep them.
Okay, these will be received. Who was there? I'm going to come forward and state your name, please.
Inspector Chase, Liquor Board.
Inspector, were they cooperative?
First name.
Oh, Terry.
Were they cooperative with you?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And did she appear to be impaired at the time?
No, not that I can remember.
Okay. Anything further?
Nothing further.
Okay. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the admission, the testimony received, the documents received in evidence, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 23, 2019. He has had the license for a long time, and this is his 5th sale to minor during that period of time, 2 of them having occurred last year and now 1 this year. He's made the changes. They come a little late. We have to be somewhat consistent with these. That's the problem. So I would impose a $3,000 fine. I'd give him 30 days to pay it, and I would give a 2-day suspension, effective immediately.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A sales to minors on January 23rd, 2019. And like the chair mentioned, this is the 5th sale to minor, 3rd within the last year. And I concur with a $3,000 fine and a 2-day suspension with 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, and would concur with the $3,000 fine. I would have increased the suspension to 5 days.
Okay, so it's a 2-day suspension, it's effective immediately, $3,000 fine. Thank you.
He said he would get his license back on Saturday.
You have to ask the inspector.
Okay.
And you can see Mr. Ramsey in the back for your
Thank you,
notes.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Line call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Hahn. Licensee Exhibit 1, alcohol brand certification. Licensee Exhibit 2, 3 photos. Thank you.
Calling case number 7, Old Major, 900 South Carey Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 23rd, 2019. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Harry Previs on behalf of 900 South Carey Street. Here
And
with me is Ms. Bruno, the licensee.
Would Ms. Bruno and the inspector raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Previs, this is another one. It's the same cadet. He's not going to be here till this afternoon. Do you want to hold it over?
This is going to be an admission.
Okay. Do you want to then tell us what happened?
Sure. Ms. Bruno wasn't at the establishment at the time of the underage sale. Her manager was working at the time, and that manager has been fired since this happened because the manager was too hands-off. Is that correct, Ms. Bruno?
That is correct.
And also the bartender has been terminated. Ms. Bruno hired new management and is requiring all of her bartenders to be certified.
How many bartenders do you have?
I currently have 3 bartenders.
They're all certified now?
They're all tip certified.
Okay. And you've had this license almost a year, is that correct?
year.
So this is your first violation. Was she cooperative, or were they cooperative with you?
Yes.
Okay.
State your name.
Inspector Chase, Terry Chase, Liquor Board.
Thank
And
you.
yes, she was cooperative.
Thank you, Inspector. Okay, anything further? Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay, on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the admission and testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 23, 2019. This being the first offense, I impose a $500 fine and give her 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January 23rd, 2019, and I concur with the $500 fine and 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 23rd, 2019, and would concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like all exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Chase. Thank you.
And Mr. Page, if somebody will notify that cadet, we may not need him. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go back and order case number 2, Beck's Liquor, 600-04 North Chester Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on November the 28th, 2018. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Frank Boozer on behalf of the licensee. This is going to be admission. I was actually trying to find out which one of these uniformed gentlemen wasn't 21, but the cadet's not here. So we'll be.
I think the cadet is here.
Sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay.
But before we do that, can I have everyone sworn, please?
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Then you say it is an admission or not?
It's going to be admission,
Okay.
yes.
So what would you like to tell us?
As you'll know from the file, he's been the owner for about 5 years now. It's my indication that from review of the file, there's no other prior violations of any kind. I actually started working with Micros as part of the tobacco sales that have been going on and the fines that people are getting for those from my clients. They have a new system now, which is coming out. I've talked to a lot of my clients about it, especially in cases like this. It's not the scanner, but it hooks in the software into the register, so you can't make the sale of alcohol unless it's an ID is actually scanned in. It actually, the drawer won't open up. It completely blocks and voids the sale.
So that's the name of the software, Micros?
Micros is the company that makes it. They're actually an international company. They were founded in Baltimore or Columbia, one of the two. So my friend does have some connections with them over the years, the past 30 or 40 years. When I've talked to him about that and some of the clients about that, I think it's your understanding you're going to get that program. Is that?
Yes.
And I can't, in all honesty, think of any better way to prevent sales to minors than having, a software system which would prevent the sale completely.
Thank God for our technology.
So that being said, I think my client would reserve at this time unless the board has any questions.
Were they cooperative with you? Yes. Okay. Commissioners?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the testimony received, the admission, any documents that have been received, I'd find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on November 28, 2018. It's his first violation. He's had the license since 2015. I'd impose a $500 fine and give him 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of 4.01 small a, sales to minors on November 28th, 2018, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine with 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on November 28th, 2018, and would concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Always good to see you. Thank you.
You can see Mr. Ramsey in the back. Like all exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice.
Kona Grill, 1 East Pratt Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 13th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would all those who are going to testify raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear, raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
What is your name, ma'am?
My name is Michelle Warner.
Do you mind pulling that mic over? We're recorded, I know, and we're on television as well, so we need to. Michelle Werner.
Michelle Warner,
And
W-E-R-N-E-R.
and what is your relationship to the Kona Grill?
I'm the general manager.
Okay. And Ms. Werner, were you there on February 13th?
I was not
Okay.
present.
Do you believe, are you admitting or denying that this sale occurred?
Admitting.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about that?
The bartender simply moved too fast, served the beer, didn't ID, admitted to it. She gave her information. She's been terminated since. We've been open. I've been there for 7.5 years. We've been open for 8.5 years. We've never had an incident. We take it very seriously. We take all the steps to train our staff, and she had been trained, and she just missed a step. So we let her go. And
Who was there? Please come forward. If you'll state your name for the record, please.
Agent Joanne Martin, Baltimore City Liquor Board.
Agent Martin, were they cooperative with you?
Yes, they were.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Questions?
Anything further, ma'am?
no, that's it.
Okay, on the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, the admission, the testimony, and any documents received, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 13, 2019. It is the first violation in 8 years. I impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
Okay, thank you.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February 13, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine and 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 13, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can see Mr. Ramsey in the back for your notice. I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Martin.
Yeah, for those present, if there's a fine imposed on you, please afterwards see Mr. Ramsey in the back.
Tavern Bar, 2148 Wilkins Avenue. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 31st, 2019. Please come forward.
Is anyone present here on behalf of the Tavern Bar? Do we have service on them? Is this your client, Mr. Previs?
It's Mr. Kadensky's client. He actually,
And you were supposed to cover for him?
yes, but he was asking for a postponement for Tavern Bar.
No one's here?
No one's here now.
Were they served?
I'm not
Yes,
sure.
they were served.
They were served. Postponement, I mean, he normally does that ahead of time.
Yeah, he sent in a letter.
May I see? You did send in a letter?
I think that's the wrong date.
Did we deny this? Yes, that was one of the 5. Oh, because he said he was going to get someone to cover, is that correct? Correct. And that's you?
That's me.
Well, where's your client?
Not
You
here.
didn't tell them. Can you get him here by this afternoon? We can push it to
Possibly.
the afternoon
I'll
docket.
try to get
Give
in
it a
touch
try.
with him.
Is that all right with the cadet?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, let's move it to this afternoon's docket.
What's the cadet's name, because he just spoke on the record? Before we move forward.
Yeah.
Cadet Cameron Sneed.
Cameron Sneed?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Bryson. Okay.
That's today.
All over the place today.
Club 2300, 2300 West Baltimore Street.
I'll be right back. Mr. Singh's in the hallway.
This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 31st, 2019. Violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small I, Class BD7 licensees, open and operating tavern at all times on January the 31st, 2019. Violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small I, Class BD7 licensees, open and operating taverns at all times on February the 22nd, 2019. Please come forward.
And again, Harry Previs on behalf of Mr. Singh. This is Mr. Raj Singh. Jaginder Singh couldn't make it today, the licensee.
Okay, with all those who are going to testify, raise their right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Is Mr. Singh on the license?
He is not. He is the manager.
He's the manager.
From
Okay.
my understanding, they're in the process of trying to get a transfer over to Mr. Raj Singh.
Okay. So are they admitting or denying these violations?
This is going to be an admission.
As to each of the violations?
Yes, as to each of them.
Okay. So what would you like to tell us?
I guess I'll go through. For the sales of minors on January 31st,
I hired a new guy for the store.
Do you mind stepping up to the microphone so we can?
How do you spell your first name?
First name is Raj.
Spell it.
Raj, R-A-J. So I hired a new person for my store, and I was training him for 2 days. And so I had a family emergency. My wife called me, so I had to leave that night. And so he was on schedule for that first day. So that was that for the 31st of January.
Okay. And who was there on the 31st when the tavern portion was not operating?
So through the health department, I had a letter issued that I had to fix up the bathrooms and everything. And I was doing the job by myself. That was the reason why.
Had they closed you?
Huh?
Did the health department close you?
They didn't close me. They were like, I had to fix the bathroom floors because there were some water leakage on the flooring and it was getting all damped. So that's why there was nobody just back there and there was work going on for the bathrooms renovation.
and that was the 31st, correct?
Yes.
And then on the 22nd, they shut you down?
Yes.
Is that correct? For the same reason?
Because my contractor, he just left the job on me and I was working on myself.
So the health department did close you on the 22nd?
On the 22nd.
And
the
when
22nd.
have you reopened?
And it reopened on the next Wednesday morning after I had sent all the work done pictures to the fire marshal and I came to the liquor board for the.
How long were you closed?
For 5 days.
Okay.
From Friday till Wednesday morning.
And so now everything is operational
Everything is operational, yes, sir.
and you're open?
Yes, sir.
Who was there? Okay. Who wants to testify? Agent, come on up. You're the newest, so you get stuck with all of the cases today.
Inspector Terry Chase, Liquor Board.
Okay, Inspector, so you were there on both the 31st and the 22nd?
Yes, I was there on numerous occasions.
And what did you observe?
So when we did the underage, I observed the bathrooms were non-operational after he served the minor.
Did you notice that they were under any kind of renovation?
No, it didn't look like they were under any renovations at the time. And then on top of that, the whole back bar area, it wasn't open, and you can clearly tell that it wasn't operational. It had dishes everywhere, trash everywhere in the back bar area, and everything was just out of order.
Has anyone been there since the health department allowed them to reopen?
I was. I went back the day that they were supposed to open, and he was still fixing up the bathrooms, and one of the bathrooms didn't have running water. So I told him, and on top of that, he didn't have a proper liquor license, so I told him that he couldn't open until he got everything fixed.
So are they open?
Yes.
When?
It was the same day. He came to the liquor board and got his liquor license, and he fixed the bathroom, and another agent went out.
Okay. And did he cooperate with you when you spoke with him?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Anybody else have anything? Okay. Anything from you, Mr. Priebus?
No.
Okay. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, testimony received, the admissions, I would find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 31, 2019, a violation of Rule 4.20 small c small double I on January 31, 2019, a violation of the same rule on February 22, 2019. This licensee has a poor record. They've had the license since 2015. They've had violations for sanitation, BD7 violations several times, sales to minors several times. So I would impose a $3,000 fine, and I would suspend the license for 3 days immediately. I give them 30 days too.
To clarify, 3,000 total?
Yes, so $1,000 as to each.
And 3 days suspension. I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January 31st, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine. As to that violation, I find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small double I, on January 31st, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine. And finally, I find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small double I, on February 22nd, 2019, and again, imposition of a $1,000 fine. And I concur with the suspension of 3 days.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 31st, 2019, and I concur with the $1,000 fine. I find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small double I, on January 31st, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine. I also find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, small double I, and on February 22nd, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine. And I also concur with the imposition of a 3-day suspension.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That would be effective immediately.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Chase.
Case number 8, Bull Robinson Liquors, 2736 Greenmount Avenue. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would all those who are going to testify please raise their right hands?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Gentlemen, if you'll step up to the microphone. What is your name, please, sir?
Scott Cho.
Um,
Scott Cho?
Yes, CHO.
And are you related to the licensees?
That's my wife, Susan Cho. That's my wife.
Okay. Okay. And so you're charged with a sale to a minor on January 16th. Do you admit or deny that that happened?
I admit.
Do you want to tell the board what happened on that date?
As a single daddy, so I was at home with my boy, but he operating the store, but he got so many.
Say he. What is this gentleman's name?
The Reggie.
Reginald Tony.
Tony?
Yes.
T-O-N-E-Y. E-Y, okay.
And I was taking care of his homework. Then he called me that he got a situation. So after I put him make him bed and sleep, and I went to the store. Then happened to through the camera all that. So since then we decided with discussing about how I stopped all the sale to minors, so we got the equipment. I just got the bring in. It scan.
So this device will scan.
Yeah,
all
scan
the-
ID. It pop up for the minor, all that, and less than 8 hours, so it kicking don't serve him like that. So we vote it. So every single person come to the store, less than 8 hours, come back. They're not gonna get a liquor, beer, cigarette, anything. So now we scan every single person come to the store.
And when did you obtain that? After this occurred?
Yeah, right after that happened.
Okay. And the gentleman behind you, are you here on this case?
Yes, my name's Anthony Brown, Charles Village Benefit District Area Director, and also representing Harwood, the neighborhood.
So you're here to talk about the sanction that we may impose?
Yes.
Okay,
sir.
I'll
And
give
I
you.
do- And I do have a letter from the Harwood
Okay,
community.
in 1 second, okay. Agent, were you there?
Yes, sir, I was. Andy Perez, Baltimore City Liquor Board.
And were they cooperative with you?
Very cooperative.
Okay, you spoke to Mr. Tony at that time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay. On the basis of the admission, testimony received, the materials contained in the charging documents, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2019. Sir, you wanted to speak to us?
Yes. just like to
Do you all,
present this.
excuse me, do you all concur with that?
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, small a, 4.01, small a, sales to minors on January 16, 2019.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 16, 2019.
What did you want to give us, sir?
The letter from the Harwood community.
And this, can you want to tell us what this says?
Basically, it's the neighborhoods that are concerned, the Charles Village and the Harwood are combined. And we are concerned about the activity that's happening there and that area. You know, that the residents are trying to rebuild that area, and with things like this happening, could it move into other areas. It's been a violent area at times, so the community is very concerned about that. The last time we were here, he was told to work with the community, and he did. We had a meeting. He fixed the glass on his windows, met with the police department, myself, and Mr. Miller from the Harwood community. So he's made steps in advance. But
When you
we're-
say he, you're referring to this gentleman? Okay.
Yes, I apologize. And so he's made some advance, but we're still concerned with this underage drinking and what it's doing to the neighborhood.
Understood. Okay.
Thank you.
You have anything further? Okay, so, Mr. Cho, you have last year there was a sale to minor, and then 5, 6 years ago there was a violation. So, you hear their concerns?
Yes, sir.
And I hope this works, because they're...
It works very well.
Okay. I would, this time around, impose a $1,000 fine. I give you 30 days to pay.
I concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine and 30 days to pay.
I concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine.
And thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Brown.
I'm sorry. Mr. Roberts is the president. Okay. That will be received. Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Gatto. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Inspector Perez. Community Exhibit 1, letter dated April 14, 2019, from Harwood Community Association. Thank you.
What's the next one? Let's go after that.
Joe's Tavern of Dundalk, 1006-08 Dundalk Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2019. Please come forward.
With all those who are going to testify, raise their right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Your name, sir?
Darren Henson.
Mr. Henson, how are you today?
I'm good, and you, sir?
Okay, so you're charged with a sale to minor on January 16th. Do you admit or deny that?
It's an admission, sir.
Okay. And do you want to tell the board what occurred on that occasion?
It's a brand-new employee. He'd been there not even a week. We had tried to explain to him the importance of checking IDs. Everyone else there is a long-term employee. He served a cadet. a few days after that, we noticed that he still was not really paying attention, and this just wasn't the job for him, and we let him go.
Okay. Were they cooperative with you?
Yes, sir, they were.
Okay. So, Mr. Henson, you have prior sales of minors, but they're 10 years ago.
Worked
So
very hard.
Things have gone well for a long time. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to tell us?
No, sir.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, testimony received, the admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2019. In light of the fact that you have priors, but they're aged. And can I ask you a question? Was your license revoked back in 2008?
I was in the process of selling it, and it still fell through, and they basically told me I had to go back through the reapplication process all over again.
You had to get it again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it was revoked at one time back 11 years ago. Okay.
Yes.
All right, I would impose a $1,000 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
Yes, sir.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a sales to minors on January 16, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine and 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 16, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $1,000 fine. Did you say that you found the violation?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay.
I think I did.
Yes,
didn't I? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Henson. See Mr. Ramsey after they give you papers.
I'd like to close this for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Clark.
Sheldon Lounge, 4325-27 Bel Air Road. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2019. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct on February the 23rd, 2019. Please come forward.
Once again, good morning, Your Honor. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conkling Street, for the licensee, Miss Navroop Kaur Sandhu, who's to my right.
And if you would raise your right hand and the others as well.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So, Mr. Harvey, your client's charged with 2 violations, one on January 16th for a sale to minor and on February 23rd for having their corporate status forfeited.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my client will admit to the 4.01A.
Has she repaired the other problem?
Yes, she has, but I also would like to advise the board that she's denying that. I mean, you know, the rule 4.16 says licensee must not commit or allow commission of an act that is contrary to any federal, state, or local statute, law, or ordinance, and that is against the public safety, health, welfare, quiet, or morals. I don't see how that fits into the circumstance I'd like to explain, if I might.
Before we get into a big legal fight over it, is her status now okay with SDAT?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a tax clearance certificate that was obtained on the 12th.
Okay.
And I would like to state that she was completely unaware that this forfeiture had taken place.
I don't doubt that, but
SDAT did not
How
send
much did she owe?
$58.
Okay. Okay. I don't think we make such a big deal out of it. We're just, it is a technical problem.
But, I mean, just the way, it, you know, for illegal conduct, it just doesn't sound.
Well, it is not exactly what you call legal conduct to operate without the proper status. Okay. But more importantly, what happened on January 16th?
Well, that, again, Ms. Sandhu wasn't present, but it was a rather busy day for the tavern. I would like to state a mitigation that she's had this license for 11 years, never had any problem with service to minors. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 years, she received a letter of recognition in January of 2018 and in 2017 for actually passing this same sort of test. It just didn't happen this particular time. So she would like you to consider that when you mete out your punishment.
Okay, were they cooperative?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the testimony received, and the admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, on January 16, 2019. And in light of the fact that Ms. Sandu has a good record and she's rectified her situation with the State Department of Assessments Taxation, I would rule to dismiss the Rule 4.16 violation. As to the sale to minor, I'd impose a $500 fine and give her 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sales to minors on January 16, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine with 30 days to pay, and I agree with the dismissal of the illegal conduct since it's been rectified.
Thank you.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 16, 2019, concur with the imposition of a $500 fine, and join my colleagues in dismissing Rule 4.16.
Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate it.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Dado. Board Exhibit 2, STEP printout.
Do we have more this one?
Sherry's Place, 238 South Broadway. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 19th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would all of you please raise your right hands?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your name, sir?
I am Patrick Acquia.
And are you Ms. Palumbo?
No.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Palumbo's my mom.
Oh, okay. So you're charged with a sale to minor on February 19th. Do you admit or deny that that occurred?
It happened.
Okay.
This was, Mary Beth was the person that served the police cadet.
Okay. Just an error or?
In error.
Mary Beth, what's your last name?
Roland, Roland.
Okay.
I will tell you some of the things that I have. I've come a long way. Some of the officers here would attest to that in the last 10 years. I have a bounty on police cadets. If my employee does not serve a police cadet, they get a day's pay. If they serve a police cadet, they pay a fine.
Okay.
This is my first time that I've had to do that because I take it very serious because we were at one place before, and this is a step back for us, and this is not where I want to go. I don't want to be that place that we were. I want to be the place that we can be. And I was really angry about it when it happened, but it happened, and there's nothing that we can do. We can move forward. We have some more changes put in. I can't even give an explanation why it happened. It shouldn't have happened. It's against all of our rules that we have. We have been the recipient of letters before about, hey, you've done good about serving a police cadet, and hopefully that will,
So what do your bartenders get when you get those letters?
day's pay. We narrow it down to when it comes. As a matter of fact, I think I had a talk with Mr. Page the last time I got one. I came down and said, thank you for actually sending the letters because it's a great thing for us to know that we're not that blight on the community. We don't want to be that. And so it's very, very helpful to us. It improves the morale. I just can't, I'm at $135 that night. And
I hear you.
Yeah.
So were they cooperative with you?
Agent Cristonalis, they were cooperative, and like the gentleman said, we have sent cadets in there in the past, and they have passed.
Okay, well, you've had the license since 1974. It's a long time, and there was only one prior violation, which was 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. So on the basis of your testimony and admission and the materials contained here, unless the commissioners have other questions.
No questions.
I would find the violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 19, 2019. And in light of your record, I would impose a $350 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
Can I just say that I'm very sorry?
You may, thank
I
you.
have been in the bar business quite a few years myself, and I'm kicking myself in the you-know-what right now. But I've been very diligent, and I'm going to continue to do so because I don't agree with serving minors. I have little nephews that I don't want anybody serving liquor to.
Okay, the commissioners have to rule yet, but
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01, small a, sales to minors on February 19, 2019. And I concur with the imposition of a $350 fine in light of the fact that they've had the license for a number of years, had one other violation, and seem to be doing better within that time frame.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 19th, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $350 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick, to our police cadets, our city needs you. Do well, because we really, really need you, and we appreciate what you're going to do for our city. So, thank you.
Thank you.
May I call exhibits for the record? Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice.
Where are we on our docket, Mr.?
Case number 13, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
East Curly Liquor, 2921 East Monument Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors, on February the 19th, 2019. Please come forward.
Do we have service while he's looking?
We do.
Thank you.
No response.
Okay, and for the record, excuse me, we have a record of serving them on February 28th at 5:35 PM. So let's proceed. Whoever's going to testify, please raise your right hand.
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Agent Chris Malice, Baltimore City Liquor Board. On or about 2/19/2019 at approximately 21:50 hours, I, Agent Chris Malice, while on duty and working with the Underage Task Force consisting of members of the BPD Vice Unit, Detective LeBron, Detective Greenhill, and Sergeant Detective Leisher, along with BPD Cadet Dickerson, who was under the age of 21 during this investigation and was working in an undercover capacity. We were conducting underage investigations throughout the city of Baltimore. We arrived at 2921 East Monument Street in the establishment known as Curly's Liquors. Once at the location, Cadet Dickerson entered the establishment and ordered a bottle of peach Amsterdam from the server, later identified as one Young Bae Kim with a date of birth of 10/3/70. Cadet Dickerson used a departmental 20 to purchase the liquor. Once he received change in the product, he exited the location, notified the members of the team of the purchase. We entered the location, identified the server, and explained that the underage police cadet was served. We explained the process and left the location without any further incident.
Were they cooperative with you?
They were, from what I recall.
And Cadet, so that you were served a vodka?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What's your first name, sir?
Jaquan. Jaquan.
J.
Aquan.
Okay, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Questions?
I thank you on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and the testimony received. I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 19, 2019, and I'd impose, this is the first offense, I'd impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sales to minors on February 19, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine and 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 19, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you.
May I call exhibits for the record? Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice.
Robbie's Nest, 2250 East North Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 19th, 2019. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. JU representing Mr. Contreras, who's the licensee for the Robbie's Nest.
Would you gentlemen please raise your right hands?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Yu, is this an admission or a denial?
It will be an admission.
Okay, and what happened on February 19th?
Mr. Contreras made another mistake. Obviously, as the record will show, that it was before the board 10 months ago, and the commissioners gracefully, gave him $500 fine. And he really tried hard to comply with the rules and regulations, and he did, in fact, did do well, and he received a compliance letter, which I may submit. Thank you.
Will receive.
And checking the record, it seems that he received another compliance letter before the prior incident, which happened back on January, actually May the 2018.
Well, that was September, wasn't it? That letter.
The current incident happened.
You may be right chronologically.
The second compliance letter that he received was from September 2018, but he received a compliance letter before that, which was back in January of 2018, and then he incurred a violation after that, which was the first violation, and then this time he incurred another violation, which is on.
What's he doing to make sure that it doesn't happen again?
It seems that he really tries to check everybody's ID, and then once in a while he makes a subjective judgment as to whether a purchaser is over 21 or not. And he learned his lesson this time around, and he's going to check everybody. He's not going to make any subjective judgment as to whether the person is over 20, looks like over 27 or 40. None of that. He's going
I don't know how expensive those devices are, like the gentleman had up here earlier, but if they're not that expensive, that might be worthwhile investing in to make sure that you don't get caught again with a problem like this. It didn't look like it was that, expensive an operation. It's certainly less expensive than paying our fines.
Right. Those equipment goes from anywhere from about $800 to about $1,500. So it's a lot more affordable, and that gives you a reason to check the ID. So you can scan it, so you can open the register. It's your license at the stake, so you have to check everybody's ID. You understand that?
Agent, were they cooperative with you?
They were, sir.
Okay, commissioners?
No questions.
I thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the testimony received in the admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 19, 2019. I would, on the basis of this record, impose a $1,200 fine and give him 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a sales to minors on February 19, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $1,200 fine with 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 19, 2019, and would concur with the imposition of a $1,200 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department. Report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Krista Malice. Licensee Exhibit 1, Letter of Compliance, dated September 28, 2018.
I don't know. Do we have more this morning, Mr. Page?
That's the end of the AM docket, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Thank you. We'll recess till 1.
The board is in recess until 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Now begins the PM docket of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Preliminary matter on the PM docket, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Case number 1, PM docket, 1000 West Lombard Street, postponed. Case number 10, 1508 West Saratoga Street, postponed. Are we going back to the?
Yes,
AM
please.
Wilkins Avenue? Sure. Recalling a case from the AM docket, Tavern Bar, 2148 Wilkins Avenue. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 31st, 2019. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Harry Previs on behalf of Mr. Carr. I have not been able to locate Mr. Carr.
Okay. It sounds like Mr. Kadensky may have dropped this ball, so we're going to continue this case and set it back in at a later date, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Will do. Number 2 on the PM docket, the horse you came in on, bar 1626-28 Thames Street. This is a Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 13th, 2019. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of licensees.
Good afternoon, everyone who's going to testify. Raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Fogelman, is your client charged with a sale to minor on February 13th? Admission or denial?
No admission at this point, sorry.
Okay. So who's going to testify for the board?
Agent Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. On or about 2/13/19 at approximately 22:45 hours, I, Agent Chris Amalis, while on duty and working with the underage task force, consisting of members of BPD Vice Unit, Detective LeBron, Detective Greenhill, Detective Gatto, and Sergeant Detective Leisher, along with PPD Cadet Clado, who was under the age of 21 during this investigation and was working in an undercover capacity. We're conducting underage investigations throughout the city of Baltimore. We arrived at 1628 Thames Street, known as the Horseshoe came in on. Once at the location, the cadet entered the front door and went directly to the bar. The cadet ordered a draft beer and used a departmental 20 to purchase the alcohol. The cadet then received his change. Within approximately a minute, a security personnel who was working the door and had stepped away when the cadet gained entry spotted him and asked him for ID. When the cadet failed to provide one, he was asked to leave the location. As soon as he went outside, he notified the members of the team, and we entered, identified the server as one Brittany Parcell, and explained to her the sale of the underage cadet and recovered the 20. At that time, management came and was very cooperative. We left the location without any further incident.
And before you're the cadet, sir?
Yes, sir.
And would you state your name for the record, please?
Nolan, N-O-L-A-N, Clado.
Okay, and is that an accurate statement of what happened, Cadet Clado?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions?
Thank you. And Agent Chris Amalis, you stated in your report that quote, we arrived at 1628 Thames Street, known as the Horseshoe came in on. Once at the location, the cadet entered the front door and went directly to the bar.
Correct.
Okay. What amount of time passed between the time you arrived at 1628 Thames Street and the cadet entered?
Well, we were on Thames Street for a while. We did a couple checks on Thames Street. So I would say we were on Thames Street for approximately 15 minutes.
All right, but how long was the cadet in the vicinity of the bar before entering the bar?
Well, we were at Bond Street Social prior. I don't understand your question.
All right. Did you observe the cadet before he entered, immediately before he entered 1628?
I personally did not. He was in Detective Greenhill's vehicle.
Okay.
We stayed on right outside of Bond Street Social till we got confirmation of which location sold. So I didn't see the cadet go in.
All right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay.
And questions for Cadet Clado?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Cadet Clado, you've heard Agent Chris Amalis' testimony. He was not able to see what kind of delay or period of time there was before you entered the bar at 1628 Thames Street. Could you tell the board, was there any period of time or delay where you were in front of or across the street from 1628 Thames Street before you entered the bar?
I walked down the sidewalk until I was in front of the bar and then crossed the street and walked straight into the bar.
Okay, in fact, you scoped out the bar for a minute, did you not, across the bar from Thames Street? Across the street from the bar, I'm sorry.
Are you asking if I stopped before I crossed to observe?
Yes.
No, as soon as I was told by my detectives to go to the horse, I walked down the street and walked across.
Right, and once you walked across, or as you were walking across Thames Street or about to walk across Thames Street, you noticed a group of females entering the bar on the left-hand side. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And that is the reason you chose to enter the right-hand side of the bar. Isn't that right?
I was just avoiding traffic.
You were avoiding the security guard. Isn't that a fact?
I saw 3 entrances. I didn't know which one was the main.
Totally random.
Yes, sir.
All right. And within 70 seconds of entering the bar, you were asked to leave. Isn't that a fact?
It was 70 seconds after after I received the beverage.
All right. So is it your testimony that you didn't see a security guard in a bright orange hoodie at one of the entrances of the bar
I did not.
as you entered?
I did not see a
So it's
security guard.
totally random that you went in at the exact opposite door.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
I don't have any questions.
Were they cooperative with you?
They were very cooperative.
Okay. Okay, on the basis then of the...
May we be heard?
Oh, sure.
In testimony. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Oh, I thought you said you had nothing else. That's fine.
Oh, no, no other questions of the witness. And quite frankly, the lack of an admission was due to the hopeful opportunity to cross-examine.
That's fine.
And to put on just brief evidence. Thank you very much. All right, I'm joined here today by Mr. Corlogos, licensee, Eric Mathias, Mathias, General Manager, and Miss Brittany Purcell, B-R-I-T-T? Just one, they got it right. Good job, detective. All right, B-R-I-T-A-N-Y, and her last name is Purcell, P-U-R-C-E-L-L. I'd like to briefly call Mr. Mathias. Mr. Mathias, the general manager.
Fine.
Thank you. Mr. Mathias, your business, in addition to hiring quite a bit of security, also has extensive video camera documentation of anything that happens on the premises. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
All right, and you have 2 extremely short videos to document what happened that night, don't you?
Yeah, it just further validates the statements. I know you guys got a busy day, so I don't waste your time. But it kind of agrees with what both Mr. Fogelman and this is the cadet entering. This is him. I'm sorry if you guys can't see. So there's a group entering. That's where security is posted right in that door. And he just moves around the side and enters on that door. We have security 7 days a week, and we. Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Was it the going around to the back door or the one who just went in
There's
this
2
door?
entries right here, and and then there's egress. There's a fire exit right there. So as the group was coming in on Wednesday night, it's the only night we have 1 doorman, but both sides are open. So we scaled down for the winter season because we were closing the bar early. And that was the one vulnerability that we have. Brittany's been outstanding, but they get, next video. All right, okay.
And you
Sorry.
rely on the security person to do the carding. The bartenders don't do anything?
The bartenders do traditionally card, because we only have security from 7 p.m. on. And I brought our security schedule for the last 3 months. This is the second video, also showing, all right, there we go. So there's the cadet, Mr. Nolan, at the end of the bar. And it just agrees with the minute and 10 seconds that Clinton Johnson, one of our security managers, approaches and asks for ID, but it was a minute and 10 seconds too late. So
He had already ordered.
he already ordered and served, but when he was done carding the group, he walked over and he approaches. He approaches in a bright orange staff hoodie. I did not do the greatest job of editing this. But.
You don't look that busy.
The Wednesday nights, this was actually one of the busier Wednesdays we've had. Things kind of taper off.
Was the
when
weather
it's-
bad?
Yeah. Just November, December, people kind of.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking it was February 13th.
There's Mr. Johnson approaching, asking the cadet for identification.
Okay.
Now, why did he single him out? Did he recognize
He
the
knew
fact
that he wasn't carded. He's pretty active. We request our door staff, unless it's really challenging weather, to position themselves if there's just one guy to position themselves outside of both doors. And, you know, he was inside the door, which left us vulnerable. So we restructured our strategy. Okay. All right.
And
All right.
So did Ms. Purcell ask him about ID, or you were the bartender, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she was.
She
She
was
was
the
the bartender.
Well, yeah, I
She's
was the
answering your question.
bartender there.
But your no was that you didn't ask him for ID. Is that what?
No, but I'm used
You have to come up to the mic, please.
Okay.
Can you step up to the mic?
Yeah. I'm used to security stuff. Like my owner, Eric, said, Clinton Johnston's amazing. He's usually really, really vigilant in what he does. It was a miscommunication, would never happen on a day that we didn't have security. I'm very adamant on carding. I have days on my shifts where I have no security. Never been a problem before. Unfortunately, this was a problem that evening.
Do you have security every day?
7 days a week. And the only day, every other day Wednesday's the only day where 2 months where we have one entrance or two entrances and one guy. Every other day we have at least two guys at both entrances and internal guys as well.
Okay.
All right, I was going to save this for mitigation, but in the interest of time, I'll just wrap it up. What I'm presenting to you is a document showing that the bar spent $136,000 last year in security salaries alone. And there's one for each of you. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Like, come around. The next document I'm showing you is just the first, not even the first quarter of 2019, showing 1,556 security hours just in the first 2.5 months of 2019. Finally, I just want to say, and like I say, in lieu of mitigation, I'll be happy to skip that. This is a place that has over 150,000 customers visit per year. This is a place that charges $7 for beer, and the average price for a cocktail is $9, in a way to make sure that it doesn't attract an underage crowd. They have basically, when we talk about security, we're not just talking about people who show up and look at the door. We're talking about headsets, protocol, locations, training, everything you'd hope for. You can sneak into the Super Bowl. You can sneak into Disney World if
Apparently
you want
can sneak into Harvard.
Exactly. If you want to get in somewhere really bad, you can. And I think that video showed the cadet seeing the action, seeing that there was a line and there would be carding, and so in a split-second decision, potentially, or maybe something he'd watched for 5 minutes, said, I'm going in that door. And the problem, or the true catch-22 for a licensee, is if I lock that second door, now I've violated the fire code. So you have one security guard basically trying to keep an eye on both doors, and Clinton, either saw the guy go in or realized that he was not somebody that he had previously met just a moment ago, and then that's why it happened. It's just that this licensee goes to such extreme lengths to be compliant, and I'm proud of what they do. So this is more than anything just perhaps instructive to the liquor board. Sometimes it's not as simple as walking in and up to the bartender or the cashier and saying you left your wallet outside and get served. Sometimes there is a little more method to the execution of these underage stings. So I thank you for that. Mr. Mathias, you have something very brief to say, I think.
I think Mr. Fogelman covered everything, but the board, I will say they were really respectful and they were kind and they were nice to Brittany, which was a pretty terrifying situation for her. And we'll admit, we'll do better. We'll learn from it, and we've already strategized and made some different measures. So hopefully it won't ever happen again.
And in fact, when you have one security guard on duty, what will you do differently, and what do you do differently now?
What we do different, we have a more open dialogue communication where if the gentleman leaves his post for even a brief second, and if Miss Purcell or another bartender cannot see the bright orange staff within her view, then she'll know to card. In case there's no harm in double carding, sometimes the guests get annoyed, but we'd rather have that than be standing before you guys again.
All right, and thank you. We'll submit, you can see their record, not guilty in 2018 as to all charges, and way back in 2011, there was an issue with, there was an issue with potential overcrowding, and that was resolved, and there's been nothing since then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with you, Mr. Fogelman, that the cadet was trying to pull a fast one on you. I do think that their system broke down for a minute. But it seems like it's a reasonable system, and I don't fault you for that, but there was a technical violation. So I would find, on the basis of the testimony, a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 13, 2019. Because I think it was a momentary lapse, I would simply impose a $250 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February 13, 2019. And I appreciate the measures that they have in place. And I concur with the imposition of a $250 fine.
I join my colleagues in finding a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 13, 2019. I'd also agree with them that it was a momentary lapse, and you did everything you could under the circumstances, and would concur with the imposition of a minor fine in the amount of $250.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can see Mr. Ramsey in the back for your invoice. Back. Like call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Amalis. Licensee Exhibit 1, Security Invoice. Licensee Exhibit Number 2, Security Hours from January 1st, 2019 to March 17th, 2019. Thank you.
We're going to call case number 6 on the PM docket, Mr. Chairman. Frederick Station Saloon, 4019 Frederick Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 3.09 small b, restroom facilities and health regulations on February the 8th, 2019. Violation of Rule 4.16 illegal conduct on February the 10th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would all those who are going to testify raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth?
I do.
Are you Mr. Kang, sir?
Yes, sir.
Could you push that mic over to your face? Just turn it. Okay, thank you. So you're charged with 2 rule violations on February 8th and February 10th. Do you admit or deny them, sir?
I'll deny it.
Okay. So who will testify?
Agent Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. On February 8, 2019, at approximately 23:35, while on duty working with a social club task force consisting of members of Baltimore City Housing Special Investigations Unit, Baltimore City Health Department, and Baltimore City Fire Marshal's Office, and BPD Vice Unit conducted inspections at 4019 Frederick Avenue in the city of Baltimore, state of Maryland. During the inspections, it was observed that the hot water at the hand sink behind the bar and the hot water in the men's bathroom was not working. At that time, the Baltimore City Health Department closed the establishment for those reasons. The cashier of the establishment was explained the process, and the establishment could not open till the health department performs a re-inspection. Furthermore, Detective Greenhill spoke to the owner on the phone and also explained the findings. On February 10th, 2019, at approximately 16:43, I received a call from Major Howe, the city night commander, which communicated on the VRI email that 4019 Frederick Avenue was open and operating, and asked if Health had reopened the establishment. Health had not reopened the establishment. On February 10th, 2019, at 20:36 hours, the Baltimore City Health Department responded and notified the Major that the establishment should not be open. On February 11th, 2019, at approximately 00:25 hours, Major Howe advised the VRI email that he has sent the sector sergeant, and had ordered him to clear the establishment and close it. And we have members of the health department here, and the vice unit is also here for any
Before
questions.
you go anywhere, do you have questions for the agent?
No, I have no question.
Okay. The health department want to testify?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Brian Rice. I'm with Baltimore City Health Department, and I'm speaking on behalf of Denise Roll and Courtney Klein. So they were at the facility February 8th, 2019, and at the time of the inspection, the employee was unable to provide hot water, which led to a closure. On February 11th, at Monday, we did reopen them, and they were able to satisfy the requirements for Baltimore City Health Department, and they are now in good standing.
Okay, do you have any questions for this gentleman?
I have a question on him because
Go ahead, ask him.
let me show you the sink that we're having a problem at that moment. Was this sink, small sink, and he say there was no hot water. But I spoke to him that day. But I spoke to the first time, like 11:30. I spoke to the police officer. I don't know.
Do you have a
if
question for this gentleman?
Yeah, he's saying there was no hot water.
You have a question to ask him?
You're saying there was no hot water in the sink. Is that correct?
So at the time of the inspection, the employee was unable to show us hot water. Apparently, the knobs were changed.
Right.
So upon inspection, we need for the employees to know how to provide hot water.
My employees say it was very intimidating. Like all 5 different divisions came in one time, and she say she's trying to explain, and nobody want to listen. And say, well, you're gonna be shut down because there's no hot water. Isn't it correct?
Yes, it was closed due to no hot water, and your employee was unable to provide that for us.
No, she say she trying to show it to you, but she was so intimidated. It's like, nobody want to listen to her. She say, somebody called me at like 11:30. It was a police officer who called me up. So I spoke to him. I said, there's a hot water. You gotta leave it on for like certain time, but switch was, the right hand side is the hot water. I told him, turn it on for a while, it will work. He refused to listen to me. He said there was no hot water whatsoever. And that's the reason they say they're gonna shut it down, because there's no hot water. And I explained to him, we have hot water, because I already checked. Because 10 days.
Were you there, sir?
No, I wasn't there at that time.
So this is what someone else said?
Yeah.
Who was this person?
He was a police officer I spoke to.
No, who was representing you at that time? Who was your employee?
It wasn't one of my employees. She was there, and she.
And what's her name?
Her name is G. That's what we call G.
Okay, and so G claims that they wouldn't listen to her and they closed her down. Is that correct?
Yes.
So having closed them down on the 8th, why were you open on the 10th?
Because I went there next morning see if they were correct or not. Because I explained to him there was a hot water.
Explain to whom?
Everybody. I
don't know. I don't know who everybody is.
Over the phone, I explained to him. No, they called me up.
Who they?
The inspector. Inspectors.
Now
I don't know if the police officer here in this moment, but he's the one I spoke to first time. Then he said there was no hot water in the sink. I mean the tub. I said, there was a hot water. Please trust me. Just leave it on. It will work. No, he said, no, I'm not. You're arguing with me. And then I said, can I speak to the health department inspector, because he's the one who says, we're gonna shut you down for a weekend. Mm-hmm. So I told him, I didn't ask him about, turn the hot water, because I already explained to the police officer at that time. And I asked him, there's right next to it, there's a 3-compartment sink. There's a hot water that's running. So can we use it for temporarily, wash your hand, whatever? Can we do that? Because there was a hot water running, except that little sink. What they say.
Did he say you could open?
No, but they say no, because no water running in the hot sink. The next morning, I went in there, I turned it on. There's a hot water coming out, and like a 10 seconds later. I was really furious because like a month ago, same task force came in to our bar, asked to fix everything. I closed down for 10 days. I fixed everything what they asked me to fix. They told me to even fix the electric box panel. I don't know which fire department has anything to do with looking at the electric panel box. They told me to get a permit and get an inspection. So it took me 10 days to get the inspection done, and I was closed down for 10 days for
the fire department?
it was, that time was the fire department. They accused me of like the fire electric panel box needed to be re-inspected by the zoning board.
And when was that?
That's like a month and a half ago, sir.
Maybe before or after this?
No, before before. So the same task force came that day, and next morning I went in there, turned the water on. There's the hot water's running, and I say there's the water's running in the men's bathroom. There's the hot water's running, but somebody shut down the valve on.
So did you ask the health inspector to come back out?
No, so I went in the Monday morning. I went to health department, and directly I spoke to the head of health department. I officially complained the situation. I said this is something is not right because there was a hot water, everything was running as it's supposed to be, and you guys shut me down for a weekend without any proper cause. Because I felt it was like they were using they're overusing their power of authority. Because of there's right next to it, there's hot water running in 3 compartment sink. Even they accused me of there's no hot water in little sink, but right next to it, there's a 3 compartment, there's hot water running. So all you guys watch, any employee can watch in the 3 compartment. And I officially complained to the head of health department, and she thought there was no hot water in our store at all. That's what she told me. No, I said there was hot water, except there's a little sink. And I told her the reason I opened, because this time I discussed with my wife. I think this time I'm gonna fight with the city because they called that twice. They come in, shut me down for 10 days. I did everything they asked me to do at the time. Even the sink they inspected at the time, month and a half ago.
The fire department or the health?
No, everybody.
I don't know who everybody is, sir.
Okay, sir. There was a health department comes in. It's like there's a task force. There's a 5 department comes in at one time. Same time they come in. Health department, liquor board, the who else? City police department coming in, and then who else is coming?
So the health department had been there before February 8th?
Yes, everybody was there like a month and a half ago.
Were you there?
Before February 8th?
Yes.
Was the health department there?
We do routine inspections, so we have been there multiple times.
Well, were you there when the fire department closed them down?
No.
Okay. Was there any other previous problem with the hot water?
No.
I'm confused, but okay.
Let me ask you, so you're referring to one, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but you're charged with having 2 different systems that aren't running hot water. Are you saying that that the health department was wrong on both accounts?
No,
or just one?
No, so the little sink, there was a hot water. The bathroom, the small sink in the bathroom, the hot water valve was shut down. So I went there next morning, and somebody shut down the valve, so I turned it on. I turned the water on. There was water coming
So
out.
in the bathroom, there was not hot water. I understand the valve issue, but
Yeah,
there wasn't
yeah,
hot
there
water
was
at the time.
there was no. Even when next morning I turned it on, there was no hot water. So I looked down, I opened the valve, and the hot water started coming in. And the last thing is, I officially complained that Monday to the head of health department, and she told me to get it open, and I'm gonna send someone inspector to come out and take a look at your situation. Until now, nobody came and re-inspect the store yet. Our systems, the sink is still same. I didn't touch anything. It's still sitting there.
They've never been back. How did you get reopened?
The head of the department, the health department, she said go ahead and open, and she said she's gonna send somebody to
So she
re-inspect.
authorized you to open?
Yeah, she authorized me to open, and she said she's gonna send somebody to take a look at it. But until now, no one has come to our store and check if its sink is running or not.
Wait,
I thought-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You sure?
Yes, go ahead.
So I thought you were reopened on February 11th.
Yes.
So there had to be some reinspection, maybe Mr. Rice, there had to be some trigger by which you would have re-inspected to open it back up on February 11th, am I correct?
Correct. So Jessica Speaker, she, after speaking with the owner, very compliant. He was very compliant. We understood his situation in regards to having hot water. However, our critical issue, which is his employees need to always be trained. So upon our inspection, if an employee can provide us hot
That's
water.
not the question Commissioner asked you. Did you go back out there on the 11th?
I did not go out.
Nobody from your department went out there?
I do not have a report with me.
You don't know? Okay. Thank you.
No, nobody came so far, because I'm trying to videotape all the situation from that day till now. We have a recording system, and no one has come out, and I could prove it to you that situation is still same. I didn't touch the sink. It still remains same as it was at that time. And when I complained to the head of the Department of Health, she said that she thought there was no hot water at all.
You already told us that, and
Yeah,
she
so-
authorized you to open
So
on the
she
11th.
authorized me to open. She told me she's gonna send somebody out there.
You already told me that too.
Yeah, and
But you opened the day before she authorized you,
because I felt,
because you didn't have any authority to do that, though.
but I felt like, like somebody closed it down for 10 days. They had a prior inspection, and it was approved. And then they say send somebody like
Why didn't you contact her on the 9th?
Huh?
If it was perfectly fine and you weren't there on the 8th, why didn't you call her on the 9th, right?
I did call the health department. I did call them up, but they were closed.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
So the first day was the 11th that they were open?
And that's the first thing the Monday I went into the health department and complained the situation. I vigorously complained to her the situation. We had a hot water at the time, and she understood, and she told me to open back up, and nobody came to inspect yet.
Okay, so we don't have any record of the fire department closed down because it didn't come to our attention, but I believe you that that happened, okay. So, commissioners have further questions?
I don't have any further questions.
Anybody else on the issue of the violations? Yes.
Go ahead.
You were there, sir?
I don't know if he was there, maybe it's mitigation.
Well, I just, Detective L.C. Greenhill of Vice. I just wanted to clarify that I was the detective that he spoke to that night on the 8th. And again, his hand sink didn't have hot water. His sinks in the bathroom, the male bathroom specifically, didn't have hot water. Explained to him that he was going to be closed. He argued with me on the phone. He argued with Inspector Rowe on the phone when he was told he was going to be closed. As far as Ms. Stratton, the person that was there, she was very cooperative. She understood. She wasn't intimidated. I've been to this bar many a time. And my experience with her is she's never intimidated by me when I come in.
She's very intimidated by you. She could personally come in and tell you, because she say you come in any night without any authority, you come in and raise the hell on her all the time.
Okay, wait a minute, gentlemen. She's not here, so we don't know what she thinks,
Exactly.
okay?
I say bring it in.
That's so fine, okay. Anything further? Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the testimony received.
One more person want to talk.
You were there?
I was not there.
Then why are you going to talk about, we haven't gotten to the mitigation yet, or what, the sanctions.
Okay, sure.
I mean, I'm just talking about whether they violated. Do you have evidence of whether they violated?
Well, I can speak to the previous inspection with the fire department and the other.
I don't really care about the fire department. Were you there about the hot water?
I was there the last time that the bathroom was not operational.
Okay, we're going to come to that, okay? All right. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we need to get to this point, okay? So, on the basis then of the testimony received and the materials contained in the charging documents, I find a violation of Rule 3.09 small b on February 8th, 2019. And for your understanding, sir, that's because whoever was there was unable to demonstrate to them that there was running hot water. And a violation of Rule 4.16 on February 10, 2019, because you weren't authorized to reopen at that time.
I too find a violation of Rule 3.09 small b on February 8th, 2019, and I find a violation of Rule 4.16 illegal conduct on February 10, 2019.
I too find a violation of Rule 3.09B on February 8th, 2019 as well. I find a violation of Rule 4.16 on February 10th, 2019.
So, no, if you'll come up, please.
For mitigation.
Okay, and would
How
you
we doing?
identify yourself for the record, please?
Councilman Christopher Burnett, District 8. And to speak to the previous visit, that was during the mayor's violence reduction initiative. We had a walk, I believe it was sometime in December of 2017. I was there with the mayor, who
17
also...
or 18?
2018, I'm sorry. Myself and Mayor Pugh and police, I mean, you know, you've been on or heard of these walks. There's multiple agencies that walk in. Upon us visiting the store on that date, the bathroom was not operational at all. And I believe we do have photos from that visit and I'm sorry to hear that did not make it to your attention. But it was clear they were doing work without permits. There were no permits posted. The bathroom, the toilet itself was in the hallway, yet the store was open. And so there were not only was there no access to a sink, there was no access to a toilet, of which, again, we do have photo evidence that I can send separately. That was the last visit that he is describing. And, you know, I spoke about this issue yesterday to the Irvington Community Association, which has a meeting a few doors down, and other residents there, and I've asked them to notify, you know, the board. But when mentioning the store was coming up for hearing today, several residents, and again, we'll work on their reporting, indicated that since we've had several of these, they've still tried to access the restaurant portion, the saloon portion, and were denied, but again, weren't aware that there was a way that they could report it. So of course, I took the opportunity to educate them about that. I say all that to say this is not the first time that I've been here personally to testify about the operations of this particular store. The spirit of the BD7 license is that it's supposed to operate as a place that people can sit down and consume their beverage. And I just feel that repeatedly we continue to have these same conversations about the restrooms, accessibility to the saloon. It appears the store, from my personal just opinion, wants to operate as a traditional liquor store, but I don't believe their license reflects that. They want to operate that way, which is fine, but then take advantage of the extended hour without operating properly as a saloon, which is what they're supposed to be. And that's not just my opinion, that is the opinion of several residents in the Irvington community. They've been here, they've submitted letters at previous hearings. The president was not able to make it today, unfortunately. But I am monitoring this. And so, yes, I have asked for increased attention at this particular store because from my opinion, that, you know, that this license is a privilege to have. The community deals with a lot of issues that we are trying to address, or whether it be violence or other things. And it is my expectation that businesses operate under the spirit of the law, and to have a BD7, which gives you the opportunity to stay open later, should mean that you're doing your full due diligence to make sure that it's fully operational at all time and meeting the needs of the customers, but also honoring the spirit of a BD7, which is a place to go, sit down, consume, have a sandwich or whatever else, and be able to wash your hands. And it seems that that we continue to revisit these conversations over with this particular store, that I don't really have other issues with other operations in the area of honoring the spirit of their license. It seems to be this one that just does not want to comply.
And how many days was it closed by the fire department, do you know?
I would have to go back and pull it. Like I said, I know the issue was permits, so I'm happy to send that to the board for review. I didn't know it. This is the first I'd heard it had not made it here. I was monitoring.
They're not charged with that. They're not
Yeah.
charged with the BD7 violation this
Yeah.
time either, although they were found guilty of one back in October and closed for 5 days and fined.
Yeah.
So can I respond to his?
You can. Is there anything else on?
I mean, I just want to clear up the record a little bit. During the VRI walk, I was there, Executive Secretary Page was there, the mayor was there, the councilman, and we identified the toilet sitting in the tavern, in the BD7 not being open. And at that moment, that place was told that they cannot operate till they have a working bathroom and the tavern's open. So that was addressed immediately. The fire chief, the fire marshal was actually on the walk. He observed some electrical issues, sent his fire marshal there the next day, who extended that closure for fire issues. So at the walk, everything was addressed before we left the walk.
Thank you.
Let me So, like, we don't serve a food, and like all the publics are welcome to come in our store. We open, bars are always open, and we always train. It's open for public. At that time, we were renovating the bathroom. When they walk in, yes, toilet it came out because we have to fix the wall and everything on the men's bathroom. That's when the mayor. Unfortunately, that's the day they came down to our area to do the inspection. But our job is to fix the bathroom so people can use it. So we are renovating the men's bathroom at that time. And that was it. It's not like we're not fixing anything. We fix everything accordingly with, if a fire marshal come in and ask us to do this, we fix it. If liquor board come in, fix it, we fix everything. We do accordingly I'm trying to follow every direction because you have to, go by the law. But when law is abusing, situation like there was no hot water, exactly when there was a hot water, it really blew minds up. It's like they're using excessive power of just closed you down for a weekend over. I don't understand the reason that
Your employee wasn't able to show them any hot water.
she told me she was very intimidated by 5 different departments comes in at one time, and that's 11:30 at nighttime.
Maybe you need to get a different employee because that's the way things operate. And,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I may, the fire department closed the establishment on 10/25/18 due to several fire code violations, and that establishment remained closed for 10 consecutive days.
Okay,
Records in our.
as I said, and I've said this over and over, you're not charged with those violations. You're not charged with BD7 violations. We're going to have a renewal of license season coming up soon, and all this stuff may come back to your detriment. I don't know. You have a terrible record before this board. But today you have 2 violations that we found. One with respect to the inability to have hot water on the 8th, and one's for opening without authorization on the 10th. As to the first of those, I'd impose a $1,500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it. And as to the second, the same, $1,500 for a total of $3,000 and 30 days to pay. Because you've already been closed for a weekend, I wouldn't suspend at this time.
I concur with the imposition of a $1,500 fine as to the first violation, and as to the second, I concur with a $1,500 fine as well. However, I'm inclined to close the establishment because I'm disturbed by the fact that he reopened without authorization, so I'm inclined to suspend him for 2 days.
I would concur with the imposition of a $1,500 fine as to the first violation. I would also concur to the imposition of a $1,500 fine for the second violation, and I will concur with Commissioner Hafey on the 2-day suspension. Sir, I think you need to really sit down and meet with the community and the liquor board staff so you don't find yourself back in this position. You don't need to respond, but I think you need some help. Our staff's always here to help. The community, I think, is seeking to get you engaged. I would really, really, really listen to those folks and get engaged.
When does the suspension begin?
Today.
Okay, thank you. And please see Mr. Ramsey at the back. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Let's call the exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Investigation Report, Agent Chris Malice. Board Exhibit 3, email from Agent Chris Malice dated 2/8/2019. Exhibit number 4, email from Major Howe dated 2/11/2019.
Case number 3 on the PM docket, James Joyce Irish Bar and Restaurant, 616 President Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 13th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would all those who are going to testify please raise their right hands? Are you counsel?
I'm counsel.
Okay. And what's your name, sir?
Benjamin Willey, W-I-L-L-E-Y.
I'm sorry, what is the last name?
W-I-L-L-E-Y.
W-I-L-L-E-Y, Willie, okay.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I didn't have this before me. Okay, excuse me. So, Mr. Dwilla, your client's charged with a sale to minor on February 13. Does he admit or deny?
We admit, Mr. Chairman.
And does he want to explain what happened at that time?
This is Mr. McDonald, who was the bartender on duty at the time.
Okay.
I'll let him explain to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is David McDonald. I'm the head bartender at the James Joyce. I've worked there for a little bit over 11 years. This happened on a Wednesday night, which I work every Wednesday. Quite honestly, I just let my guard down and made a mistake. I've been bartending for 20 years in the state of Maryland, Prince George's County, Howard County, Baltimore City for the last 11. Never been in front of a liquor board before. There's really no excuse. We train our staff to card. We do doormen on the weekends to take care of that, but during the week, being where we're at, we don't have young people around, and I just, I even introduced myself to him. I know his first name is Nolan. You know, I saw two guys at the bar, came down, one gentleman was much older, introduced myself to him, his name was Tommy. Sat down, got this gentleman, introduced myself to him, he said his name was Nolan. I wasn't sure if they were together, got them their beers, was handling something else. Before I knew it, you know, the police came in and
were
that's
they
it.
cooperative? Very cooperative. Okay. So I have an unrelated question. Do you have a June 16th special for Bloomsday?
We do Bloomsday specials. We have a house beer and some food specials, and we have in years past. We didn't last year because it coincided with the World Cup, but we've had people from Hopkins come in and do Ulysses readings. So we usually do that. That's actually the date of my owner and his now wife's first date. So it holds, that's where the name of the pub comes from.
I guess it wasn't in 1904, though.
No, it was not.
All right, so thank you. Do commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Other than what Bloomsday is, I have no questions.
Okay. All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the testimony received in the admission, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 13, 2019. You've had the license since 2002, and this is the first violation. That's a pretty good record. I would impose a $350 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a, sales to minors on February 13, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $350 fine with 30 days to pay.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 13, 2019, and would concur with the imposition of a $350 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Agent Chris Malice.
Does she want to put that in?
And licensee Exhibit 1, letter of appearance dated February 27, 2019.
Thank you.
Fairfield Inn and Suites, 101 South President Street. This is a Class B hotel motel beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February the 13th, 2019. Please come forward.
Yes, sir.
Adam Scharf, Royston, Muller, McLean, and Reed. And we'll be proceeding by way of an admission.
Okay, let me just get everybody to raise their right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Scharf, your client's charged with a sale to minor on February 13. You say they're going to admit?
Yes.
Okay, do they want to give explanation?
Yes.
Okay. You may.
So this was a simple oversight. They were preparing to close. It was the end of the night. There was one lady on staff. Her name is Chanel. Is Chanel Garland. Their policy is to card everybody that's 30 and younger. She simply just did not card this individual, as it was the end of the night. He was the only person in there. She was suspended and later terminated from her position. They had a staff meeting in the restaurant as soon as this occurred. Their policy, they reiterated that their policy is to card everyone under the age of 30, and that they need to ensure that they abide by that.
What time do they close?
9 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, what's your name, sir?
William Sterling.
William
Sterling.
And with that, unless they have anything to add, we'll
Okay.
submit.
Commissioners have any questions?
Were they cooperative?
It's,
Okay. All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the admission, testimony received, and any documentation, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on February 13, 2019. It's the first violation. I would impose a $500 fine and give them 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on February 13, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on February 13, 2019, and would concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
thank you.
County Clerk Exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Martin.
Shamrock Liquors, 4300 Bel Air Road. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 4.01A, sales to minors on January the 16th, 2019. Please come forward. Way better, Ken.
Where's it go?
My client was sitting right next to me.
They disappear. I hope you got paid first.
Is that your
Yeah.
client?
Here he comes.
Good afternoon. J.U. representing Mr. Key Lee.
Okay, will everyone raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Is this admission or denial, Mr. Yu?
There will be an admission.
Okay. So he's charged with the sale to a minor on January 16.
That's correct. Mr. Lee, on that day, he was very sick. He had a flu, and he was very fatigued. Mr. Lee, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, so that night he took quite a bit of NyQuil to stay open late. And so he had very little tolerance, no tolerance to alcohol at all, because NyQuil contains some alcohol in it. So I asked him, why did you stay open so late? I mean, it happened at 8 o'clock. If you were sick, why don't you just go home? And he explained to me, you, as the board may know, he was trying to sell the store, and he had an offer before, which the buyer was represented by Mr. Kadansky, but that deal fell through because some contractual dispute and stuff. On this occasion, he had another offer, which was the Towns Brothers, who were before the board, and got approved for the transfer on the 10th of January this year. So in that purchase agreement, Mr. Lee he has a covenant in there that he has to maintain the opening and closing hours. That, as a seller, he has to maintain the hours and make sure that sales doesn't go down. So
When did they close on that deal?
they closed that on the deal not too long ago, after the transfer, after the bulk transfer permit was approved.
Okay. So he's out of it now.
Yes. So Mr. Lee's here, begging the commissioners not to jeopardize the license anyway, because it'll jeopardize the buyer, Mr. Towns, which he has no fault in this, and Mr. Lee's at fault, and he has matched it. And he actually he wanted to do something to show the board that it was a mistake, and he really will
Is he
not.
out of this business now?
Yes, he's sold the business closed.
But I mean, is he retiring or?
No, he's not.
Is he going into another liquor business? Okay.
So Mr. Lee, he's already certified in alcohol awareness training. So, I advise him. Montgomery County Board of Liquor Control has a very good program, which is alert program, which is like 3-hour program that is sponsored by the county. So he drove up to Gaithersburg and he attended that program, which is very thorough. And I personally attended that program myself, so I know for a fact that it's a very good program. He completed that program. So, and Mr. Lee does have the card reading system. Of course, he has to ask for the ID. So he does understand that. And, when you're that sick, you shouldn't be running the store. You should just go home.
Okay. Was he cooperative?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the matters contained in the charging documents, the admission and the testimony, if any, received, I find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a on January 16, 2019. In light of the circumstances, I'd impose a $350 fine and give him 30 days to pay.
I too find a violation of Rule 4.01 small a sales to minors on January 16, 2019. And I concur with the imposition of a $350 fine.
I find a violation of Rule 4.01A on January 16, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $350 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready to call exhibits for the record? Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, investigation report, Inspector Perez. Licensee Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification.
Loafers 2, 1401 Bloomfield Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 3.09 small b, restroom facilities and health regulations on January the 12th, 2019. Violation of Rule 3.09 small b, restroom facilities and health regulations on January the 26th, 2019. Please come forward.
Good afternoon again, Harry Previs, and with me is Miss Rokia Tresvant, manager of Loafers 2.
Good afternoon. Would you all raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Mr. Rivas, you've got one violation of restroom facilities and health regs on the 12th of January and another one on January 26th. Admissions or denials?
We'll admit to the January 12th violation, but deny the one on the 26th.
Okay. Who would like to testify on the violation on January 26th? Detective?
On 26 January 2019 at 10 o'clock p.m., myself of the Vice Unit conducted a check of Loafers 2 located at 1401 Bloomfield Avenue. The listed licensee was not present, but manager Raquel Tresvant was present and in full operational control of the premises. The establishment known as Loafers 2 has been operating without a health permit since September 25th, 2018. Members of Vice were first made aware of this during a visit with Source Club Task Force on 12 January 2019. During that time, the bar and restaurant was open and found to be operating under a provisional health permit that expired 25 September 2019. Detective
When did
Greenhill.
it expire?
Say again?
When did it expire?
It actually expired 2018.
Okay.
Just a typo. Detective Greenhill notified Melanie Clark from the health department to find out if the management from Loafers 2 picked up the health permit, which no one from the establishment renewed the permit. Melanie Clark then informed Detective Greenhill the business removed the posted closure sign that the health department had posted to open the business later in the evening on 12 January of 2019. Someone from the business then reposted the health department closure sign to make it seem that the business was closed. The only difference is the business reposted the wrong closure sign. The business posted the closure sign that was originally on the door dated for 10 January of 2019, which means the health department officials conducted a visit on 10 January of 2019 and closed the premise down. Unknown persons then removed the sign and operated again on 11 January 2019 and was closed again following another visit by Source Club Task Force on 12 January 2019. The business appeared to stay closed from 14 January to 2019 through 25 January 2019. On 25 January 2019, the fire department approved the establishment with a new UNO and allowed the business to open with a fire watch. Detective Greenhill spoke to Ms. Tresvant, who was under the impression that she had all the permits needed to open. I then basically told her to, since they were already open that night, just close at their regular time since the fire department did approve them for a UNO, but not to reopen on Sunday the 27th until a valid health permit was on the premises. 28 January, I then notified Melanie Clark, who advised the management from the establishment identified as Loafers 2 did pick up their health permit.
So, that was a little confusing, but, so they were closed until the 25th. She was told she could open on the 25th?
They were closed on the Yes, they were closed until the 25th.
And someone said she could open then?
Well, the fire department issued a new UNO.
I don't know what a UNO is.
It's basically a use and occupancy permit.
So does that allow her to open?
I'm not with the fire department, so I wouldn't know if that allows them to open. But they had to have a fire watch, meaning that a security person had to be there to make sure they don't go over capacity.
Okay, so what was the problem on the 26th?
26 again, they were open without a health permit.
So is the issue, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, is the issue that the health permit expired, Mr. Rice, on September 25th, 2018?
Correct.
And that's what, am I understanding this, that that's the issue? Or that's
because
the central issue that keeps them from, that kept them from opening?
Because the liquor license is not a BD7, it's a LB, so it's under a restaurant, it's as a restaurant.
So while the fire gave its use and occupancy permit, the health permit it
wasn't even picked up yet.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. And can you just, I'm sorry to take over the
No,
question.
go ahead, because I was thoroughly confused.
And can you tell me how long they were closed for? Did I hear you say they were closed from?
We did, like I said, the task force, the health department came out on the 10th and closed them for basically operating without, based on that 2018 permit. And then we went out again on the 12th, they were open, and then we closed them again.
Okay.
And that was with Social Club Task Force. And then they stayed closed, to our knowledge, they stayed closed from the 12th up until the 26th when I came out that night.
When they thought that they had, when they thought the use and occupancy, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they probably thought the UNO was sufficient to open.
Correct.
When really,
They were still in violation because they still had the health department still needed to come out and do their reinspection and then pick up their new health permit.
So I'm going to let you cross them, but can I ask you a question? Are they open or closed now?
They're open, correct?
Do you have a current health department?
I do.
Okay, when?
I had the 25th, I spoke with the health department, so they the ones told me that they had to approve it for the fire to approve it. The health department had to approve the permit first, 'cause I was applying for a new use and occupancy, so the standard is health, then fire, then building inspection.
And your name, ma'am, is?
Rokia Trust Fund.
I'm gonna need the spelling of that.
ROKEEA, Trust Fund, TRESVANT.
And what is your relationship to the licensees?
To the licensee?
Yes.
To the establishment?
She's the manager.
Yeah, I'm a manager.
Oh, okay. All right, so your understanding was you had a health approval.
I spoke with the health department, so they said as long as what they said to me made me think that as long as all my permits was current, that I can reopen up. And they said, make sure you have your use and occupancy. I didn't even have my use and occupancy because they told me they can email it to me as well. So I spoke with the health department, Mr. Welsh at the health department, and asked him, he told me as long as my permits, and so I didn't even open Friday. I waited till Saturday to open, to have a full day of being open, because they told me I was able to open, because I had completed everything in one day. Basically, I was closed down. My initial application last year, I had a health inspection. I was approved by the health department. I wasn't approved by the fire, which held it up, and because I was on a temporary license, I couldn't move to the next, I couldn't get a new temporary license. But the fire didn't approve me because after all this time, it was no fire panel in the building. After all these years of being operating, I was the one that found out it wasn't a fire panel in the building, so they couldn't approve it.
Okay, we're getting into weeds that I don't even begin to understand. So, who's Mr. Welsh?
He is the program planning supervisor.
And did he tell her that she could open?
Yes, when she got her license on the 25th, she was able to open.
So why did we charge her with being open on the 26th unlawfully?
Because at that time, she still hadn't picked up her health permit. She still had the posted provisional license that expired in 2018.
So she just didn't have the document, but she was authorized to open.
Right.
But I had no way to.
Okay.
That was a
I understand. I'm not faulting you. I didn't understand.
So, but I had no way. I had
trying
no
to
way
figure
to
out what
understand
happened.
if
Okay.
they had been approved.
Okay, all right. Got it. Commissioners have any other questions? Do you have any other questions?
Just, did you tell Miss Tresvant that she was in good standing with the health department on the 25th?
Yes, on the
identity
25th, she did all the requirements needed. Our biggest issue was the 12th, but the 25th, she did get everything needed in order to actually get a valid license at the time.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the material, do you have a question?
I just want to make it clear, but on the 26th, Steve, I did allow her to stay open, but just not reopen until she got a.
I'm not faulting you, Detective. I think you did the right thing. I just was trying to figure out. It's confusing. Okay, so on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and the testimony received in the admission, I find a violation of Rule 3.09, small b, on January 12, 2019. As to the violation of that rule on the 26th, I would dismiss it. Commissioners?
I too find a violation of Rule 3.09, small b, on January 12, 2019, and I agree to dismiss the same violation on the 26th, 2019.
I find a violation of Rule 3.09, small b, on January 12, 2019, and concur with my colleagues in dismissing Rule 3.09b on January 26th.
So, as to the sanction, the last, just back in October, you had a sale to minor. Before that, several others. I'd impose a $750 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
I concur with the imposition of a $750 fine with 30 days to pay.
Concur with the imposition of a $750 fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Police Department report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 3, Baltimore City Liquor Board compliance inspection.
Saigon Today, 700 South Potomac Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 3.09, small b, restroom facilities and health regulations on January the 11th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would you all raise your right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
What is your name, ma'am?
My name is Lin Ha.
Okay, Ms. Ha, you are charged with a violation with respect to the restroom facilities and health regulations on January 11. Do you admit or deny that?
Yes, I admit.
Okay.
It's totally our employer for and my fault.
Oh, slow down.
for
Tell me
management.
again. Step up to the mic, please.
Yes, it
And-
totally is my management for and my employee for. I have been having a meeting with them. The person who was in charge of cleaning that day had been terminated because of he have not followed the law and the rule of the restaurant health code. So we have been cleaning the issues, and we have the inspection from the health department come back and reinvestigate, and we got to be open again.
Did they open you the next day?
So on January 11, I was overseas seeing my father, and I spoke to the inspection on the phone by FaceTime. I wasn't there to show the inspection. What they need to see was the pet control came over on Thursday morning. They want to see the receipt and the report. The pet control, they don't send me anything after they visit normally, and after that mistake, I require them to send me email every time when they have the report, because if I would have had the report to show the inspection.
When were you opened?
So I got back January 14. We got open January 17 or 18. That's inspection.
Okay.
I didn't keep the record carefully.
And
I can
so-
always look through the
So
email.
the fire department approved them to reopen?
Or health
Or
department.
the health department? Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, around later that month?
Yes.
Okay. And was she generally cooperative with you?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, your admission, Ms. Ha, and the testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 3.09, small b, on January 11, 2019. This is your first violation. I'd impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
Thank you very much.
I too find a violation of Rule 3.09, small b, on January 11, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
I too find a violation of Rule 3.09B on January 11th, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective Greenhill. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Liquor Board Compliance Inspection.
Select Lounge, 415 North Packer Street. This is a Class BD7 Beer, Wine, and Liquor License. Here for violation of Rule 3.08, small a, sanitation and safety on February the 2nd, 2019. Please come forward.
I'll raise your right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
What is your name, sir?
Alex Walton.
Walton, and how are you related to this?
Walt, W-O-L-D-E.
W-O-L-D-E.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wold. Okay, I misunderstood. That was like Walton's Mountain. So, Mr. Wold, do you work there?
Yes.
What is your position?
I'm the manager and a part owner.
Okay. The licensee is charged with a violation on February 2 of sanitation and safety because of a malfunctioning fire alarm system, sprinkler system, et cetera. Do you admit or deny those things?
Yeah, we admit it.
Okay, so tell me what's going on.
Oh, yeah, the inspection has been done the 9/4/2018. I didn't have the paper, and when they came
They
to
came
inspect
back and re-inspected?
No, I've already inspected, and then I got it re-inspected with a different the next day, but I didn't have that paper.
So this is back in September, and this happened in February.
Yeah, and I got another one the next day, but it's an annual inspection, so it's a year.
Okay, so has the fire department allowed them to reopen?
Yeah, the next day.
Can you come forward, sir, and give us your name?
Inspector Holmes, Baltimore City Fire Department, Fire Marshal's Office. Dell Holmes. DEL, yes.
Okay, Inspector Holmes, you were the one there who noted the problems?
Yes, sir. Night of the Social Club Task Force was out, we observed that the fire alarm system panel was showing trouble in the system and several other violations. And when the manager was approached about that, we requested that he provide the paperwork of his annual inspection of that system itself. He wasn't able to produce it at the time, and then several other inspections was done on the facility. I had a Lieutenant Horton was with me at the time, and she gave him the option that if he could produce the paperwork by the next day, that she would come out and allow him to reopen.
So that's the inspection from last September?
Yes.
Okay.
And so with that, he had eventually, he produced that to her. She allowed him to open. And after that, I made another physical inspection of the system myself later on in the week and was able to verify.
So they were
everything.
approved to reopen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to give these back to you, sir, so you don't lose them, okay? Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, the admission and testimony received, I'd find a violation of Rule 3.08 small a on February 2, 2019. It's the first violation. I'd impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
I too find a violation of 3.08 small a on February 2nd, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
I find a violation of Rule 3.08, small a on February 2nd, 2019, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Baltimore City Police Department Report, Detective LeBron. Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore City Liquor Board Compliance Report.
The One Sports Bar and Lounge, 4314-16 Curtis Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Here for violation of Rule 3.08, small b, sanitation and safety on February the 13th, 2019. Please come forward.
Would all of you please raise your right hands?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing that will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Your name, sir?
Stephen Stansberry.
Mr. Stansbury, you're charged with this violation on February 13th. Do you admit or deny?
Admit.
Okay. So do you want to tell the board what was going on? The dumpster was overflowing with trash.
Yes. The truck couldn't get in because during the day, the MTA mobility employees, they park all of them down that street and they blocked my entrance. So the truck couldn't get in and take the trash out at that time, and he didn't come back. So I'm on a 2-week schedule, so it took him another.
I bet it was a mess.
Yeah,
Two-
yeah. So that's what happened.
Is there any way you can contact them and tell them?
Well, I didn't even know that he missed it that day.
Oh.
So I went down in the middle of the week and saw it, and I'm like, oh, wow. But as you can see from the pictures, I put a no parking sign for the mobility staff, and as you can see, I did. It's all cleaned up now.
Okay. And Agent Chris Amalis, were you involved in this?
I was, sir.
And were they cooperative with you?
They weren't there, sir. This was during the VRI walk that we were just happened to be walking through, and we saw all that.
And were you aware that it got cleaned up?
I was aware. We went back a few days later, and it was gone.
Okay. Thank you.
So it was closed, the establishment, I guess?
That's correct. It was like at 5 o'clock when we went. They usually open on weekend and nights.
Yeah, it was closed.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No further
All right,
questions.
thank you, sir. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, testimony received, and your admission, I find a violation of Rule 3.08, small b, on February 13, 2019. You had a violation back in June of last year.
Dismissed.
It was dismissed, you're right. So I would impose a $500 fine and give you 30 days to pay it.
I too find a violation of Rule 3.08, small b, on February 13, 2019, and I concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Find a violation of Rule 3.08B on February 13, 2018, or 2019, I'm sorry, and concur with the imposition of a $500 fine.
Thank you, sir.
Michael Exhibits, Board Exhibit 1, Investigation Report. Agent Chris Amalis.
You need these?
Do you need them?
You can have them. So, Mr. Page, the one that got postponed was Don Ritz Tavern and Grill?
Don Rentz, yes.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
1508 West Saratoga.
So that concludes the docket?
It does, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until Thursday, March the 21st, 2019, at 10:30 a.m.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. We look forward to it.
Thank you.